Hey, good morning. Lovely Wednesday here in Jacksonville, Florida. Um, just dropping off the kids at school, doing a quick drive in Tesla Model 3 on FSD beta. Got it engaged, let the car do the driving for me, and then enjoy the ride and can have a chat. I was just thinking about it on the way over here. I had it driving us here to school as I do most mornings, and um, yeah, one of the nice things about it, I mean, it still isn't perfect, obviously. There's a lot of things, especially in traffic or certain scenarios, but having it do the driving in the morning can just relax, drink my coffee. Uh, you know, I don't know. I'm a person that likes to look around, see what my surroundings are, what's going on around me. So it's fun, kind of observing people in their day-to-day activities, kids walking down the sidewalk or getting in on the bus or construction activity going on, looking at different cars driving around. So, it's just very pleasant and leisurely. It's a kind of kind of could be a benefit that's missed when you have this capability on your car. And as it continues to improve, even better. Um, still don't have the version 11 download on my car yet. Hoping it makes its way over here by this weekend. That'd be fantastic. Love to see it and see how it goes. I've heard some good things from different people I follow on Twitter, which I'm also on. I've been getting more active on Twitter. Typically, I've been more of a using it as a platform to passively, you know, follow other people, read their comments, learn things. But most just recently, in the past few weeks, been engaging more. It's been kind of nice. Surprisingly, do enjoy sharing my thoughts along with the community that I've been following. Um, Getting some responses back. I gotta say, getting more involved that way, you gotta appreciate the kind of changes that Elon's been making since he's acquired Twitter. Um, the fact that you can get insight into how your tweets are being viewed, other people liking it, other people commenting it. That engagement, once you start to play along or get involved, becomes um, satisfying. It gives a level of satisfaction that wants you to go back and stay there. You do have to balance it, because it's like any of these social platforms, the tech is very addictive. It can release those neurological stimulus that wants you to stay there because it's so easy, right? The barrier to engage and interact and get a response in order for you to feel good and have an emotional benefit is just very low. So it becomes easily addictive, and before you know it, you can be on there for a significant amount of time, unwillingly or unknowingly. So, but other than that, I think it has its place, and it's better than the other ones. Others I follow, it's definitely more up my alley, because it's geared towards more of a I don't know, it's more of a collaborative discussion. Learn it has a level of or has a aspect of education, learning, and the back and forth. It's not just. I think a lot of other social platforms are just more for kind of putting yourself out there. It's very self-centric, but or maybe not. I'm not directly involved with those anymore, or as much anymore, or at all really. So you don't have a first point of view on it. But here we go. The driving's going great. Today is Wednesday, and the other things I follow is on the financial side. Screen needs to go. Okay, that's not bad. So we got the FOMC meeting coming up, and Jerome Powell giving his verdict on what the committee over there has decided for the future of interest rates. There's been so much going back and forth within 2 weeks. Super volatile. Went from thinking, 60, 70% chance of a 50 basis point hike to now then swung the other way for a while and increased the odds of there just being no rate hike, 0%, a complete pause. And then there's, for an instance, the idea that there would even be a rate cut. But things have, moved very quickly. The crisis around the banking and regional banks and banking in general, financial system, has been seems to be moderating. Definitely, the governments, central banks, and even the banking system players themselves have rallied around each other, putting things back in order. And within the last couple of days, things have seemed to calm drastically. So, gone back to the idea that the FOMC is going to maintain what they said before, keep that level of calm, and exert that level of confidence that things are fine, the system can handle it, and the economy is strong enough that a 25 basis point hike is the right thing to do given the place where inflation is, and that there's still work to be done to get that rate lower. Um, so that's something I was always on it. I did sort of start to think that 0% would make sense at this point, but the ideal situation is that 25 basis points keeps them in plan, shows their confidence, but they'll use their time or rhetoric to show that they're slowing down, if not already deciding to shift to a pause by next time, which is a few months away. There is a big gap between this meeting and the next meeting. I think we got March, and then there's April, May. I don't think the next one is until May. So you've got a couple months with a lot more information and a lot more data. So it makes sense that they increase it now, pause for those 2 months, more data comes in, and they can posture and position themselves for that pause, coming out of this one to the next one more effectively, while continuing to bolster liquidity behind the scenes. So all that could be seen as a positive sign. All that negative sentiment that has been building up is going to quickly shift. As I'm on that bandwagon that believes that we've gone too far on one side. We need to um, swing the other way, or basically get some regression back to the mean, which requires, to get to regression to the mean, sometimes you require another swing the other way drastically in order to find your way back to the middle. So could be quite the next 2 months, the rest of March, the rest of April, and parts of the first half of May, seeing the markets and the stocks and assets just start to really reinflate, knowing that there's a tremendous amount of liquidity. I mean, it seems to get there's a lot of experienced and intelligent people that know what they're talking about. So there's a number of people that just say this isn't really liquidity. This is simply stabilizing this financial system through means of buying these MDSs at par, or pushing liquidity into the bank so that they can offset the deposit losses, things of that nature, this and that, while they consolidate further in the banking arena. But at the same time, I mean, that money is going to be available. It's going to set, there's a level of psychology in the markets where as much as, reality is set by this psychology of what people believe, right? So if people start to believe that, the Fed is pausing, the Fed is opening up liquidity again, and there's a lot of evidence of that to be the case, people are going to follow that and change their minds and start to act accordingly. So to act accordingly is to start to rebuy these assets. Why is it forcing this? Sometimes it does this. This is like a weird thing where it's almost like pre-programmed to follow a certain route on a road where it doesn't make sense. We had a lane that was, open and available to continue to go straight, but it just forces itself into the other lane because that's just what it always does on this route. Don't get it. Not a big deal. It doesn't really hinder the traveling or the driving, and doesn't really change that much on the ETA on arrival. Just odd. A little call out. So anyway, so we'll see how that goes. And it'll be fun to kind of hear the responses. It's a bit of a theater, and in a lot of ways, just like many other parts of life, the theater around it is part of the fun. So enjoy it. Don't get too caught up in it. Use it for your own benefit where possible. Yep. Other than that, got got a project rolling up. Been cleaning up a house I have here in Jacksonville that I want to put on the market. Which, in a way, like I was a bit worried, but rates are starting to come down, and the market here in Jacksonville is still relatively strong. So I feel pretty good about getting this house on the market and selling it for a good price, not having to underprice it, or the strategy will change. Initially I was going into it thinking best to underprice it, try to get the attention, get more traffic early, want to get offers in within the first 2 weeks, hope for a situation of multiple offers on that home, because it is enticing initially with that lower price. But with the rates coming down, market's looking strong for at least the next couple of months. I think the best strategy will be to price it um, basically at par, if not even a little bit more aggressive, depending on how the updates go. Going to be cleaning it out, um, redoing the tub shower area, cleaning that up for a sell, and doing some landscaping to improve on the assets. So this house just has a really lovely lot. So when emphasize or accentuate those parts, the outdoor area with the shed garage and the ample space to basically use for a new buyer. So get a nice front entrance, build out a walkway from the curb, and create some flower beds or planter beds and a small platform deck, um, along with a little bit of new sod in the back, with some materials like mulch and rock stone incorporated to just bring it all together. Because once they get that, you get the entrance, you get the front and the back looking good. It'll entice people to come in, and once they come in, I mean, the house is just really nice and warm and inviting once you get inside as well. So it all put together is going to show well, and the neighborhood is fantastic. It's just like it's a neighborhood I would love to live in. Still has some edges that need to be, not exactly, doesn't need to be um, softened, because the overall neighborhood has a bit of an edge to it. It's more hip, and hip, I don't know if that word is still like popular, hip, but it is just a more like a younger, active community. A lot of entrepreneurial spirit in the community, artistic and entrepreneurial, as well as just alternative type of um, social base. And I want to gear towards that. So I want to create the house to be a bit more contemporary while maintaining its historic charm. Doing that with some color, doing that with some of the exterior elements that I'll put together. So will be fun. Will be fun. I just need to like narrow down. I met a really cool contractor the other day. I'm hoping to start working with him. It'll be helpful if we build a relationship, since I have a couple more I want to do this year before the time's done. And I just need to get this quote that he provided cleaned up. Not cleaned up, but basically, I'd like to get it within the budget I'm aiming for. So there's some areas I think can be negotiated on. I don't know what it is, but there is something about being in your 40s. I think it is a reflective time, and at least for me, it feels that way. And I've noticed it in my choice of music I've been listening to. I've been listening to a lot of 90s era music, things I would be listening to during high school and college. I don't know. It's interesting. I don't know what the, just interesting. I don't really have um, more, haven't really put enough thought into understanding what that's about, but more of an emotional reaction, just enjoying it. And as you listen to these, you get kind of, obviously there's a lot of memory association with music and smells and food. Music quickly just like flashes you back into things that you were doing at that era, that time in your life. But yeah, all the things I want to kind of be continuing to look into is like I've noticed their emphasis on the Powerwall. So Tesla recently decoupled the purchase of Powerwalls from their overall solar systems. They did that early on as a way to, I guess, basically because they didn't have the capacity for the battery build out. They needed to make sure that any Powerwall sold is going to maximize their overall energy system sales. So while constraining it, they're able to maximize it. Basically, take that strategy. Now that their plants are up, they're able to produce more effectively. Um, they've decoupled it, which is great, as well as there's already like a federal tax credit involved, as well, in addition to what may be coming eventually in the next month or two. I'm hoping the Treasury like gets on top of this and comes out with clarification on the IRA um, regarding the broader energy system uh, incentives that they're supposed to be coming out with regarding like solar panels, battery systems, all of that stuff. So, they will be useful to understand that so we can move forward. At the same time, it's the Powerwall is an expensive battery system. I mean, of the competitors, they are the most expensive before just all things considered. But I mean, they are also, you would say, the best in their business as far as the full integration. Because now the thing that they do so well and is paying off dividends based on their strategy that they put in place early on is it just has a whole ecosystem of everything you use in your life that's major energy that has ties into major energy usage. Your car, your house, your eventually your heating and cooling system, if that new product is what it's supposed to be that's coming out in the next quarter. You know, that allows just a lot more intelligence to be built as they work in collaboration with each other. When you plug in your car, can your car act as both a storage device as well as the device that you travel with? Um, the system itself interacting with the solar panels and its ability to yeah, it was just gonna sit there and I had someone behind me, so I had to engage there. Um, yeah, and so that the solar panels with the battery system with the car, and then on top of it, any new products that they introduce, like the HVAC system, that will that collaboration has efficiency gains, and it has just also just user experience improvements. So how it interacts with you and your single app that controls your driving and your phone on your phone, and then it controls when you come home and leave, and all the other activities around your home. So yeah, there is a higher cost, but for like a future, when you're going to be putting a system like this in and expecting to use it for 20 plus years, you want to know that that system is going to be around. You want it to know that it has the ability to be updated through software over the air, and that software can continue to improve it as new products are brought to existence. And yeah, I mean, it's sometimes paying more upfront is the right decision. You got to look at all aspects. All right, and that's it. Done here. Always appreciate hanging out. These are fun for me. Hope it's fun for you. Um, yeah, it would be great to hear also from you in comments. So please do.